I think one of the easiest ways, and it will always be one of the easiest ways to get popular as a VTuber is just to be a grifter. It is just to feed into the worst thoughts that people have and the worst type of people out there. And I think that's just the number one way to kind of launch yourself into the spotlight because you're gonna get people mad at you no matter what, and you're also gonna get the most rabid amount of people supporting you and no matter what. So no matter how good your content is, no matter how good you are as a person, no matter how entertaining you are, if you simply just grift to the worst people, then you're gonna have a career and it's going to be a very interesting life that you're going to live from this point on because you then have to keep on feeding into those people's desires for you to keep on grifting. And I want to talk about once again one of my favorite things to talk about, which is a VTuber who's drifting and didn't really bury the lead at all in any capacity because I talked about this many a times about VTubers grifting, and we got a new one on it. We got a new one who is has started the grift and has started to make her turn into this reactionary content, and it is one known by the name of Yuki Waru, where the big thing kind of happened when someone posted this video on Twitter where she linked this basically 11-minute long video that Yuki Waru goes on, and it's a little rant that she has, and I'm going to show you the video right here. I'm not going to play it all, but I'm just basically talk about the main points you need to see. It is her just basically playing a League, and that's kind of not really anything you need to know about. She did link her Twitch channel, which is a funny thing to do in League if you want the worst people in your chat of all time. But basically, in this video, she starts off basically just going off and like kind of starting a rant saying, I have a lot of gay friends, I have a lot of lesbian friends, or I know a lot of people who like the same gender. But as long as you don't shove it in my face, as long as you act like a normal human being, then I have no problem at it. Which is already like a weird thing to say, it's one of the weird things to say. Like as long as you don't shove it down my throat, I'm okay with it. Like that's just kind of always an interesting take to have, and very very slippery slope that you can kind of just fall into the just being homophobic overall. Then she starts talking about trans people and basically just like saying how, she basically repeats like these very sensational stories about, I get apparently trans women saying like, oh, I also have periods. Also, oh, I have, periods. I can get pregnant and stuff like that. And when you look into these actual stories and you look into these like research these stories at all in any capacity, usually the only trans women that get periods and like say they have periods are like people who are intersex beforehand. So they legitimately can actually like have periods. And anyone who says like anything else is just kind of falling into the sensationalist story who's just trying to make you think the worst about trans people when a lot of the time what they're saying trans people are doing is just not even true in any capacity. And then she also keeps on saying like, oh, we can't really teach kids. We don't want to teach kids about LGBT stuff. We got museums for that. We don't want to go into that in any capacity. We don't want to teach kids. We want to keep kids safe from this. And so she hits basically all the talking points that you could possibly think of when it comes to just grifting about, you know, transphobic stuff and effectively homophobic stuff as well. And so obviously, not gonna believe it. A lot of people got mad about this. Now this video is getting kind of hate brigade. I don't even have like the remove dislike thing on my computer, so I don't know how I'm able to see dislikes. Don't really know. I've been told this number is never accurate, so don't really care about it. But this video got a good amount of motion, 8,000 views in like a week. So a lot of people are seeing this video from I'm assuming primarily what that one person posted on Twitter, but also just a bunch of hate brigades going on to see like what she's talking about and then calling her base as fuck and then going on and hating the people who posted this video in the first place. And so obviously, once again, like I said, a lot of people got mad at her and she just bought fully into it. But the first thing too that I need to acknowledge before this is that this title of the YouTube video does say aspiring lolly. And obviously that seems like a crazy take, crazy thing to say, just basically calling her pedophile. But it isn't wrong because literally on her Twitter she said, "I gotta find a new model artist that can also do lolly body types. SOS help." So as you can see, that claim of her being a lolly was not wrong in any capacity. It is what she claims that she wants to find her model artist to do lolly body type. So not even a slanderous claim when it is seemingly true. But obviously a lot of people get mad at her. So immediately she talks about having a kick account. That's kind of where a lot of people go. A lot of quote unquote cancel streamers go because you're allowed to say whatever the fuck you want on that channel, or on that website. You can do whatever you want. You can make crimes. You can do crazy stuff. It's just where the worst people kind of coalesce into one concentrated area of just toxicity and gaseous, nauseous evil. And so, not surprising to see her immediately go on and make a kick account. It's kind of just funny, the juxtaposition of it, of where people are calling you a chud and then say, watch this as I make a kick account. And then she's talking about her being quote unquote canceled, but you can see that she get a lot of subscribers. And like, this is kind of what I talk about when it is easy to be a grifter because, you're just going to get a lot of people who are following you out of not even out of the quality of her content. It's simply just because you just said stuff online and then they want to win the culture war. And then they want to win this like war of ideologies where they say, oh, look at the people I support. They have a lot of numbers, but it's just because I follow legitimately every single one of them. And so when everyone says like, "Oh, she was canceled," or like even herself saying that she was canceled, it's just objectively not true, as you can see by her saying that she got a lot of subscribers on YouTube from her little rant that she went on and her alleged canceling. And obviously, as you know, being canceled means you get platformed on a podcast. Now, this is the chuddiest podcast of all time. I dare you to just scroll down onto this podcast that they have and just see who is on it. One of the recurring guests, one person that I've seen on this multiple times is Tectone. And as you all know, if you just look at Tectone's court case, very wonderful guy to see, very wonderful guy to exist around, and very wonderful guy to, associate yourself with overall. But I guess he is also saying, gay people suck and trans people suck. So that means he's an acceptable guy. And so, like, yeah, it is just once again very easy to grift. Literally one single rant from this person, one 10-minute portion of her stream that really wasn't entertaining in any capacity. It was just her yapping for 10 minutes while in a league queue where she queued Tima, which is very funny. Um, Makes it so that she, can say, "Oh, I got canceled. I got canceled by the woke mob." And here, as I get more subscribers than I've ever had in my life, go on podcasts and expand my brand. How could I possibly get canceled for this? I'm silenced. I've never been more silenced in my entire life. As you can hear me by the way I'm talking right now, and how loud I'm talking, and how loud I'm shouting to the heavens. I have been canceled. And she has also been posting about the situation the most that she's posted about anything at all on her account. Like her account has gotten so much more active since this rant, and so it's also, like, once again, crazy to say, like, she's, being canceled because she's probably never been more active in her entire life than this little rant that she went on it, and so it is just absolutely insane. If anything, the person who's, like, I guess, quote, unquote, "getting canceled" is literally the person who posted the video in the first place talking or, like, not even posted the video in the first place on YouTube, but one of the people who talked about her going on this rant and posting it on Twitter because she's been getting hate brigaded, and it is just unbelievable. I'm talking about this person right here, not to, like, send hate to her, more send support to her. It was like this person originally posted the video, and I've seen a lot of comments on on her account, and a lot of people are hate brigading her and just saying like, "Fuck you! I hope you die! How dare you! How dare you call my favorite VTuber I've known about for literally a day a chud and a terrible person? I'm her biggest fan. I've been her biggest fan since 12 hours ago. How fucking dare you? You're evil. You're fat. You're ugly. You're cringe. I hope you die." That's basically what people are doing in her comments, and it's kind of insane. I think it just once again shows how easy it is to get a career if you just feed into the most reactionary things of all time. Where you literally can just go, "Hey, I'm a VTuber, but guess what? I am against what 95% of the VTubing space thinks, and because of that, I'm actually the best VTuber, and I actually like, marginalizing the community and hitting on a large portion of the community and just being a terrible person overall." And I also just would like to kind of reiterate this fact on the way out that this person is a lolly. She's talked about wanting a lolly model. So, just wonderful person to be around, wonderful person to look at, wonderful person to just call, a pedophile, because what lolly stuff is. And I guess Shota stuff too, if you want to extend it that far as well. Just talk about the semantic stuff of the differentiation, which really doesn't matter if you differentiate it, because either way, they're both pedophilia. Anyway, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about for today's house. So, once again, another chud, always fun to look at, and just shows you how easy it is to get a career if you just talk about, this type of stuff. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.